Hi everyone, it's me, Marie Blue Angel, back with another part of Call Me Under, the demo. I did confirm after recording last time that this is indeed a demo, though it is a demo that has been extended to include more content because their initial demo was a bit shorter. So yeah, that's great. More content, more fun. And so here we are back in the Scott and Sinclair's investigations office, in Penny's office to be exact. And Marie is asking Penny about last night and if Callie helped Penny with any information finding slash lead finding. I'm going to ask, did Callie help with information? That is what I decided. Did Callie offer any interesting information last night? Sorry, the music was a little too loud. The way Penny looks at me, like she might have murdered Callie and dumped her body in the ocean, tells me the answer is a solid, resounding no. I know you only just met her, but let me enlighten you to the fact that Calliope is a gossip and doesn't know the meaning of the word loyalty. She loves the sound of her own voice and likes to mess with me for whatever reason. I think about the way Penny's cheeks turned pink when Callie teased her, and the wolfish glint the songbird got in her eyes. I could probably hazard a guess, but I'd like to keep my head. Very smart. Let's do that. So nothing of note then. The only thing worth a damn was her bandmate saying he saw the Castor twins arguing the night Egan went missing. That isn't exactly brand new information, though. Seeing those twins fighting is like seeing pigeons squabble over bread. So a very common occurrence. Her eyes narrow at her smile. Well, on the surface at least. Would it be worth following up? She sticks her tongue in her cheek, eyes narrowed while staring at the wall. Then she sighs in defeat. Not like we have any other leads right now. Go nuts. Before you do that, though, I've been going through these tapes the good doctor supplied. Uh-huh. I'm too distracted to make sense of any of them so far. Can't say I'm too sure about what he thinks will be of use to us. As far as I can tell, it's just his dear old dad talking shit, conspiracy theories about the city, etc. Do you want me to take a look? She waves a hand clutching her cigarette dismissively, smoke wafting, and she pushes one of the tapes across the desk toward me. How about it? Right now we need to focus on finding more leads for the Castor case, though. I want that to be your top priority until more shit inevitably falls into our laps. I bite my lip. Annie's case is something she hasn't let me touch yet. I can't help but feel like she's too invested in it. Her feelings for Annie too mixed with anger and hurt for her to concentrate. What about the others? Penny clears her throat and drags a free hand over her pale face. Seeing her like this makes my heart sink. I'll handle them for today. Just take this. All right? You've got it, boss. Oh, I am parched. I grab the tape and head back into the main office, closing Penny's door behind me and hoping she'll pass out among the piles of paperwork and finally get some rest. My desk is in its usual state of barely organized chaos. Case files and notes I haven't even glanced at yet adorning the surface. I push it all aside with a grimace and grab hold of my tape player, inserting the first of Archie's tapes inside. I press play and ready my typing fingers. Keith said he's got a lead for me. He even said it's a birthday present, cheeky bastard. But I have to admit, it sounds too good to pass up. Nothing is excessive when it comes to this. Even hearsay has a grain of truth somewhere. Legends are remembered for a reason, after all. I'm confident. I hope it's a real lead. Keith said it has to do with that prophecy. The one mentioned in the text we recently excavated from the underwater ruins, out in the deeper sea off Greece's coast. That alone would make it worthwhile to set aside time for whatever or whoever he's found. Nothing else we found or already. Sorry. That alone would make it worthwhile to set aside time for whatever or whoever he's found. Nothing else we found, or already have, talks about any prophecy. So this might be the big break I'm looking for. I can only pray. May the light preserve us and shine the way to the truth. I stopped the tape and sat back in my chair, understanding why Penny seemed relatively deflated when talking about the content of the recording. Archie made such a big deal out of these tapes, implying they would be of use to us and our investigations. Listening to this, I can't help but feel like he was talking shit. There are more than a few people on the surface obsessed with the myth of Styx. Rather do they have the means and resources to go deep diving, looking for clues of its existence, or the balls for that matter. Okay, but then how do you go to Styx then? Who chooses to go to Styx? Or who gets to go? Plenty have been lost to the waves on such expeditions. Now that I've spent some quality time with the city and understood that it does exist, and I wasn't going on a desperate suicide mission to escape my surface life. I can only imagine what really happened to those lost souls. Did they become siren food? And to think we were only scared of sharks and drowning before. I glance over at the case board and Egan's poster immediately catches my eye, as does the way it's been pinned over someone else's, and that one over another, and they just keep piling up, and the city is nowhere near vast enough for them to just disappear. I refuse to believe it, not when we haven't even had the time to look in every hidden corner and corridor. Not when things are happening to me that I can't even begin to explain, and blue castor seems to be the rot at the root of my issues. It's like 5 o'clock now. I hear a yawn followed by a drawn-out sigh, and look up to see Penny leaning against the doorframe. She's staring at the caseboard with narrowed eyes, clutching what looks like a small pile of Polaroids. I can't stop thinking about her today, for some reason. I think she's haunting me. I wait for her to continue, but I'm hesitant to engage just in case she withdraws. She's good at that, and Annie is a sore subject. But she doesn't continue. She just stands there and stares, and stares. She can't haunt you if she's alive. Yeah, well, I'm beginning to think maybe she isn't so alive anymore. Someone like her just doesn't go missing, not without putting one hell of a fight. She's gotten herself and me out of more than enough city situations to make me believe that. Her shoulders sink, her posture changing as she crosses the room and comes to a stop in front of the board. Carefully, she shifts Egan's poster to the side, and Annie's face is once again on display. Maybe she's really gone. We can't give up on any of them. Not yet. She smiles, but it doesn't quite reach her eyes, the edges of it tinged with weeks' worth of exhaustion and sadness. She grabs a chair and pulls it up to my desk to take a seat. That's true. You've lost your partner, and you can't do much except try to find her. And also find all these other missing people. There's no time for real rest or real grieving. Or not even say real, but there's for the grieving that you would want to do. And that's a lot. It takes a toll on you. Also, so what is happening with these people? Maybe one of my theories so far is that maybe they're being brainwashed for some reason and led away from the city for some sort of other plan. Like hypnosis of sorts. Who knows, though? You're sweet, and I appreciate the tenacity, but you're also brand new. Still all shiny and wide-eyed. The city hasn't sunk its claws into you yet. And trust me, it will. The Polaroids she clutches are tossed onto the desk toward me. I glance at her before reaching for them, just checking that she's okay with me looking. She nods. When I left school, I got stuck working the graveyard shift at a mortuary in Brooklyn. I always wanted to help people, but I've never been all that fond of being around them, so I settled for helping the dead. Morbid, but I respect that. People can be a real hassle. She laughs. Annie would come in to identify bodies and get reports for court cases. The usual detective shit. I love these CGs. It's all black and white and memory filled. I was always so in awe of her. She was such a force to be reckoned with, always surrounded by swaths of arrogant men who thought they knew better. And yet, she commanded every room she walked into. I think she saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. Ooh, you got Annie's number. She gave me her card one night and told me to call her if I ever fancied getting out of this rotting basement and onto the streets. Told me my talents were wasted, being elbow deep in torsos. She quit working for the police department to open up a private agency, and my work with forensics was appealing to her. Yes, partners in crime, but not crime. I always thought I was content with the idea of making a living cutting up bodies, or taking photos of brains splattered on sidewalks. But she showed me there was more for me. She taught me so much. We were unstoppable together. We put away more criminals than I can count, and I felt like I was making a difference for once in my life. Her smile is so fond as she speaks, but something shifts when her gaze flicks upward, finding me looking down at the images of the younger crime-fighting duo. Annie started being a liaison for people coming here, too. An old colleague of hers got sent here on witness protection. Okay, so maybe that's how most people come down here? After getting into some particularly nasty trouble on the surface. He would smuggle letters to Annie with supply deliveries or new arrivals. She thought he was talking shit for a good while. And so did I. When some guy who you thought was long dead writes to you and tells you there's a secret city under the ocean, you laugh it off, right? I think I laughed in my handler's face for a good 15 minutes. I even considered calling the hospital to have them sectioned before I realized they were all too serious. And here we are. Some shit is just too weird to even make up. Okay, so Marie's here, our main character's here because also of witness protection program, which makes sense. But I wonder exactly what happened in the past on the surface for that to happen. Eventually, she started to believe, though. He made enough noise about it that she couldn't ignore him. Told her there was a solution for other people like him, and that she could help them escape to start fresh. So, she was a smuggler. Penny huffs a laugh and absent-mindedly fiddles with her lighter. Her smile slowly disappears, replaced with something a little more contemplative. Yeah, but then shit turned sour, and we had to smuggle our own sorry asses down here. Oh, what happened, Penny? What happened? She straightens in her chair and purses her lips, surveying me for a moment before continuing. We got caught in a bad case, with bad people. People who can make everything you've worked for disappear, in a heartbeat. Oh, you're dying. I almost died because of them. They burned our office to the ground and got trigger-happy over some petty dispute. Organized crime is a real bitch, you know. They said they'd kill us and our families if we didn't disappear. Damn. We were the only ones who ever came close to shutting them down, and they would have followed through on that threat without blinking an eye. Would have followed us to the ends of the earth, but not to the bottom of the ocean. My family thinks I'm dead, and Annie doesn't have a family besides little old me, so under the waves we came. That's hard, though. And now she's fucking gone, after all of the shit we went through. She left me, and I don't know what to do about it, other than look for answers in the bottom of a bottle, apparently. She groans, slumping back in her chair again as she fumbles for a cigarette. I feel like I failed her. Then she glares at me where I sit patiently watching her, listening to her. And now I've said too much and you're not going to respect me anymore. Are you? Why wouldn't I respect you, Penny? I let out a quick, sharp burst of laughter and tossed the Polaroids back at her. I respect you more, if anything. It takes guts to tell an almost stranger your entire backstory. She grimaces, frowning deeply. I'm here if you need me. I want to help. I also want to help you. I want to know where Annie is. I want to help, let me. Despite my better judgment, I reach out and rest my hand on top of hers, stilling her incessant toying with the lighter. I want to help if you'll let me. More than I already do, I mean. More than transcripts and all the other desk jockeys should. Oh, plus, with Penny. How fun. That's cute. Yeah, right. I know you're perfectly capable. I'm just... Well, Annie used to deal with that shit. The delegating. The planning. Slowly she pulls her hand from under mine and clears her throat, offering me a sly smile. But I'll try and put my faith in you, Marie. She stands and wipes the Polaroids from my hands, striding back over to the case board to pin them beside Annie's missing poster. She takes a moment to herself, standing in silence as she stares it down. There's so much red string, but it doesn't seem to lead anywhere. I need you to stick with Castor's case. Speak to the brother if you can track his slippery ass down. I certainly don't have the patience to deal with him. Again, the secret slip of paper in my pocket feels like it might burn a hole in the fabric and singe my flesh. I'll compile some information on the other missing persons, and we'll reconvene in the morning. She turns with her hands placed up upon her hips, and a new kind of energy about her. She seems tired still, because a 20-minute nap on your desk after spending all night drinking on the job will never fully invigorate a human, but she looks determined. Yes, determination is key. You've got it, boss. I grab my notepad and my camera, and I watch Penny head back into her office as I head out the door. I brace myself before stepping into the atrium to search for answers, and not just about the case at hand. I stand in the middle of the atrium and stare up at the glass that encases us, watching the water weeds sway back and forth with the current of the ocean. Buildings with scattered lights run parallel on either side of the street. Businesses with bright, welcoming signs in sunshine yellow and fuchsia flash to draw in customers, and the concrete glimmers like stars. A light sheen of water dyed the color of the neon lights, painting the crevices of the cobblestones. Oh my goodness. Maybe I'm too tired and I can't read anymore. A light sheen of water dyed the color of the neon lights, painting the crevices of the cobblestones, shifting with every flash. It's really beautiful, this background. It's beautiful, Styx. It's a marvel, something I'll truly never understand, and I'm all too aware that I'm living in a fever dream, even outside of the actual fever dreams that seem to have taken hold of me. My eyes are once again drawn to the garish pink storefront of the Killing Moon, and I find myself thinking about the way I felt when I was talking to Eve. The way that absolutely everything about that encounter felt so intrinsically strange. I suppose I should get used to that, but the way they looked at me just before I left stuck with me like a dagger to the chest. Every ounce of joy and enthusiasm that spilled out of them was snuffed out like a dying flame when they touched me. I wonder why. What did they feel? I turned almost instinctively toward the shop, not even noticing that a tall figure has stepped in my way. Instead of finding the door handle, my hand finds the soft fabric of Dr. Archimedes Sushida's turtleneck. Hello, Doctor. Oh, I love your turtleneck. Whoa. I withdraw my hand from his chest quickly, heat flooding my cheeks. Archie, I'm so sorry. I was in a world of my own. Archie takes a step back and waves his hand dismissively. I'm not entirely sure if he's waving aside my apology to indicate he's fine with me inadvertently poking him in the sternum, or if he's trying to ward me off, like a bad omen. He blinks owlishly, then adjusts his glasses and smiles. It's really okay. I'm the one who should be sorry. 4 eyes and still can't see, apparently. How are you today? Headache is gone, I hope. I contemplate that for a moment. While it isn't as violent as it was when I saw him out the other day, the dull and persistent ache has made itself a home inside my temples. It hasn't actually, but I think I'm getting used to it. It's easier to manage now, though. He frowns. His eyes narrowed. Penny's not overworking you, is she? I mean, yeah, of course she is, but I don't think it's that. One of his brows climbs a little higher towards his hairline. I'm used to being overworked. It comes with the occupation. I just have a feeling that headache is something that might be a little harder. I just have a feeling the headache is something that might be a little harder to get rid of. Sticking around like a curse, Well, feel free to stop by my clinic again if you want to try some other remedies. He regards me with genuine concern. It strikes me just how gentle his expression is. Are you okay, though, other than the obvious exhaustion and that pesky little headache? I think so. I'm just getting adjusted still. Things have been a little overwhelming. He nods, his lips pursing for a second, before a sly, almost lazy smirk forms instead. Styx is overwhelming generally. I'm sorry to tell you it doesn't get any better. The city is quite the devil. His smile widens, and before I can respond, he's talking again. What exactly are you doing out of the office anyway? Were the tapes I gave you not enough to keep you chained to your desk for the foreseeable future? Looking at the size of the pile he provided us with, I think they'll keep me busy for the rest of my life. Penny only handed over the first 2 so far. Archie laughs, shaking his head. My old man was someone who liked to talk. I nod, but my mind is drifting back to this morning, to the content of the tape, once seemingly insignificant, but somehow refusing to leave my mind. Your father, was he an archaeologist? Instantly, Archie's friendly demeanor evaporates. Not so much that I curse myself for asking the question, but his smile is long gone, and his jaw is tight. He shifts awkwardly where he stands, taking a half step away from me. If you don't want to talk about him, I understand. No, it's fine. You'd be a shitty investigator if you didn't ask questions that put people a little ill at ease, right? Penny's better at that than me, but I'm learning fast, apparently. He gives me a pointed once-over. It'll take you a while to get on her level of off-putting. Don't worry. Archie sighs heavily, looking a lot like he's contemplating spilling some secrets. He steps away and inclines his head, and I follow him to a quieter corner of the street. With a sudden flush of embarrassment, I realize we've been talking loudly, right in the middle of the atrium, with the citizens of Styx swarming around us. Not that anyone noticed, I think. Unless someone's following you. I'm unsure if any of them are even aware of any other than... I'm unsure if any of them are even aware of anyone other than themselves. Their expressions soft and their eyes set forward as they walk with an annoyingly enthusiastic pep to their steps. I wonder if it's all a pleasant dream in this city until a body shows up, mutilated and wrecked, or until a body doesn't show up at all, simply another face lost to the belly of the beast we call Styx. To answer your question, no, he wasn't an archaeologist. I'll be honest, I don't know what it was that he was really looking for. Maybe that's why he never found it, even at the end of his life. I'm sorry. You're kind, but don't be. It's nearly impossible to actually miss someone who wasn't around. And when he was present, his mind went elsewhere. Here, I suppose. Archie smiles, but there's a bitter twist to it. Maybe I can be candid with you. May I be candid with you? Of course. I can't say I know Penny all that well. She gets annoyed by people like me, I think, but I do know she's a very focused and ferociously effective detective. For her aide to be running around while there's potentially still important work to be done, work that could lead to answers, you must be on a mission yourself, right? But you're here asking about my very dead dad, looking like you'd rather be anywhere else. So what is it that you're really trying to find out? Good eye, Archie. His voice is even and polite, but Archie's watching me with sharp eyes, I feel the weight of that gaze. I don't know. I mean, could we be truthful? Do I trust Archie? The first tape. It was strange. I thought nothing of it when I listened to it, but I can't seem to shake it off. There was something about the way he spoke. The ruins. Your father hoped to find clues to a prophecy of some kind. On the surface, it doesn't seem like it has anything to do with what we're dealing with, but I'm not so sure. Call it gut instinct. It just grabbed at me, and I don't think it's planning on letting go. Archie scratches his chin thoughtfully. So you're wondering what my dear old dad was doing, fussing over ancient underwater ruins and talking about prophecies? I don't know. I just know shit is infinitely weird here. And maybe I should start listening to my instincts a little more. However fucked they probably are with all of this. I'm making up words as I go, guys. I gesture vaguely, and Archie understands. He's from the surface too. He knows how strange and unnerving the very existence of this place is, and how it feels to adjust. If adjusting is what you can call it. Your subconscious could be onto something, even if your rational thoughts are trying to grapple for a reason to tell you otherwise. Archie shrugs easily, pursing his lips in thought. There's a gleam to his eyes, and clearly, he's interested in my gut feelings too. I don't really know how I feel about that. Nor do I know if he's being entirely honest with me. Our consciousness accounts for so little of our perception of the world, it's laughable, if you understand what I mean. I mean, I think it's good to trust your gut, even if things aren't reasonable or logically explained. I stare at him. Is he implying I'd take a trip into dreamland to figure this shit out? Does that mean I'm not the only one having these weird, unsettling experiences when I close my eyes each night? Right. He nods once, and maybe Archie's onto something. Maybe I do need to cling to those dreams, to really see. Anyway, I should go. Right, of course. You're busy, and I shouldn't keep you. He glances to the side, back to the main street where we stood earlier. You were planning on visiting Eve? I exhale and stare at that neon pink glow, feeling lured in but trying to push the feeling away. I fear I'll complicate things if I step inside and encounter them again. And I need a clear head before I meet with Blue. He'll inevitably make my thoughts cloudy. No. Not today. He frowns and pushes his glasses up the bridge of his nose before letting his hand fall to his side. Then he's offering me a polite and genuine smile. Probably a good idea if you're busy. Eve likes to keep people in there for as long as possible. They have quite the talent for talking your ears off. Not me. They couldn't seem to get rid of me fast enough. Yeah, they sure are something. Thanks for the wink, Doctor. I'll leave you to it then. And if that headache of yours really starts to bother you, don't forget to stop by, okay? I nod, watching him tap his pointer finger against his temple with a wink. I'll be sure to remember that. Thank you. Then something clicks. Archie. Why did Penny ask to borrow those tapes from you? Were they all your father's research? I was only able to listen to that first one. But are they all on the subject of Styx? As many as I could find, yes. Observations on the city and so on. I think Penny thinks the city itself might be involved in this. A conspiracy? No, something more archaic. He looks around us as he says so, and I follow his gaze. But Archie isn't looking at anything in particular. Just everything. The streets. The people. The neon light signs and the dome overhead. Shadows of the kelp forest looming. Inexplicably, I understand what he means. There's always a sense of pressure in Styx. I'm becoming more familiar with. I just chalk it up to water pressure, but admittedly, it sometimes feels more than that. Eerier. Closer. I like how they kind of purse up the words or sentences and phrases for dramatic effect. It's very fun. I look at the shadowed parts of the city uneasily. Archie's tone makes me think he says the city, and means it as an entity. And the meaningful way he looks at me confirms it, but he doesn't repeat it out loud. Maybe that's for the best. Right. He offers me another sympathetic look. I'll see you around, Marie. If you have any more questions about the tapes, you know where to find me. I wave, watching him join the flow of people and disappear. The killing moon might feel like too much of a burden to take on today, but I know one other place that deals in secrets. Its neon lights are just as bright and inviting. Despite just having opened for the day, the Vanguard Lounge is relatively busy, a few patrons littering the booths that line the walls. The atmosphere is distinctly different than what I've witnessed before when visiting in the evening. The low, almost hypnotic hum of voices mingled with a sweet but unforgettable song from the piano on the stage makes things feel a little surreal. It's almost like I've walked into another vision, this hazy feeling of not quite belonging, of something not feeling right. But maybe it's actually just what I imagine a Monday morning at a Vegas casino might feel like. I take a deep breath and scan the room, my eyes landing on the very person I hoped would be on shift. The tall, blonde, and classically handsome Teddy, the Vanguard Lounge's favorite barkeep. He's likely more than willing to gossip to someone who shows him a little attention. Bartenders, no matter if you're at the bottom of the ocean or on dry land, love to talk. So do the patrons who are out looking to spill their troubles and secrets to the pretty man who serves them their poison with a smile. Hello, Teddy. We didn't get to see you last time. Well, hello there. Didn't expect someone like you to come in this early for a drink. Work got you in a bind? Someone like me, huh? Yeah, you could say that. I slide onto the stool in front of Teddy where he leans over the bar, a bar towel ceremoniously slung over a broad shoulder. Thanks for the wink, Teddy. Huh, you know, someone with a job. An important one. It's usually just businessmen and the unemployed who come in here before nightfall. Anyway, what do you have? The usual? I smile at him. He's good. I'm better. I actually just wanted to clear my mind. Work has been so rough, you know. All of those missing people. There you go. Teddy's face falls, a frown forming between his perfectly sculpted brows. It has been rough around here lately. Must be worse for you, being so close to it. Yeah, as I said, it's been rough. Penny and I are drowning in work. The bodies keep piling up. It starts to take its toll. I wish there was more I could do. Teddy leans against the bar, resting on his elbows and leaning in as if he's enthralled by what I'm saying. Maybe the gossip isn't all that good around here after all. You haven't happened to overhear anything, have you? Anything that might sound suspicious? It'd be a great help if you had. Teddy's eyebrow raises, and he looks incredibly amused or smug. I can't quite tell which one. I'd love to help you, anything to ease the pain a little. People like to talk here, but I can't say I've heard anything particularly interesting lately other than the usual. And the usual isn't all that juicy. He winks. Another wink, Teddy. I narrow my eyes at him, just enough to have his smile fading, my lips still curled in a gentle smile. Do you know a guy named Blue Castor? Teddy's friendly, mildly flirtatious demeanor shifts for a second. A glimmer of annoyance shines in his baby blue eyes, but he's quick to recover. In the biblical sense, or... I try to stop my eyes from widening comically, and fail miserably. Teddy just shakes his head, looking entirely too pleased with himself. Yeah, I know the ghoul. He comes in here most nights, orders the same drink, sits in the same seat, and leaves with a different pretty face every time. Saw you with him last night, actually. A real charmer, isn't he? Sounds like you have some history with Mr. Castor. He shrugs, still smiling like the cat that got the cream. I've never heard that saying. Like the cat that got the cream. I have to wonder how the hell Blue managed to both make the same person swoon and curse him out like a bad omen. I push away the questions that don't matter and try again. So, you really have nothing interesting for me? Teddy chuckles and busies himself with cleaning some glasses, his muscles shifting under his too-tight shirt. Penny won't ask as nicely as me. I mean, will Penny ask? Try harder, handsome. Let's try harder. I sigh quietly and lean forward, my chin in my hand. I catch Teddy's eyes and hold that gaze as he twists the rag inside the stemmed glass. Shame. I'd love to have an excuse to spend more time with a handsome guy like you and call it work. Could you maybe try a little harder for me? Teddy lets out a low whistle, his smile crooked and beautiful. You're a little too good at making a guy wish he had secrets, Marie. That was smooth. I pout. Help me out here, Teddy. All right. I gave him another wink for good measure, and he laughs. It's a pleasant sound, and I think maybe I can stand to do this again without bribing him. So I think Teddy is one of the other love interests, but he wasn't pictured on the game page. As a recreational activity, maybe. I might not have anything good to offer you right now, but I'll keep my ear to the bar. You could also try Leith's in the underworld. I would say be careful, the place is a dive, but I think you're perfectly capable of taking care of yourself. Leith's. He shrugs, setting the polished glasses aside to lean against the bar. He's pointedly closer to me this time. Where you go if you want to forget. It's cheap and nasty, so the lips tend to be a little looser than any you'll find here. And what about Blue? Can you offer me any more information other than how good of a lay he is? Teddy laughs, again, his cheeks flushing slightly, but not enough to tell me he's embarrassed. Just maybe enough to tell me my guess is true. Well, the people he leaves with are still alive and kicking, if that helps. I sigh, almost reconsidering getting that drink he offered. In all seriousness, though, you must know his type. He either answers any questions with nothing more than a growl and a glare, or he's the most charming bastard in the room. But he does tip, very generously. Well, good to know, I guess. And how generously are we talking? I don't spill such secrets, Marie. But you kiss and tell quite happily. He giggles, and the noise catches me off guard. He's cute, I'll give him that. You know, you might want to try talking to Miss Seymour. He tips his head, gesturing toward a red curtain off to the side of the bar that must lead to a backstage area. Yeah, I was planning on it, but I wasn't aware she'd be hanging around here in the daytime. Teddy shrugs. She's either here or working in the city gardens. I think she just enjoys her dressing room, though. It's nice, and she says it's quiet. Styx isn't exactly peaceful, if you haven't already noticed. I'd say she would welcome the distraction. Thanks, Teddy. I mean it. Anytime, Marie. Don't be a stranger now, will you? You'll be seeing more of me, I promise. Okay, and this is where I will stop today, because that was already a lot, and I thought I would get a lot more done. I don't actually know the length of this demo, but considering that Act 1 is included, that this is kind of, this is the first part, so it's going to be a lot more extensive than an hour or so of gameplay, which is exciting. But yes, it was great to meet Teddy. Was not expecting that this time, and we learned a lot. Or we at least learned a little bit more. But yeah, this has been enjoyable so far. I hope you are also enjoying it. And please do come back for another video. I'll be posting another one soon. But yes, alright. Have a good rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye!